That's right, folks. Stay hydrated. Welcome into Bold Predictions, Bold Show, Monday preseason review. We're having a fun time here, enjoying a little live time, a little review of what happened this past weekend, if you didn't know. Now, of course, this is preseason. We do need to preface it that these games do not matter. Okay, it's simple. They ain't it. What we got first is the Rams beat the Cowboys 13-12. A lot of people were hyping up Stetson Bennett on this game. It was kind of interesting to watch him. There were some good moments. You did see some like highlightable things, but we got to preface it that we do need to give a little preface it. He did throw a few interceptions. He made a lot of turnovers. I believe it was four. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it was four. And that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. It's a lot if you're going to deal with that with the Rams. You'd like to see them clean that up. But it's nice to see a guy get at least a little bit of hype, even if it's just for the preseason. Next, we have the Broncos versus the Colts. The interesting storyline in this one. Colts end up winning 34-30. Make sure we got that right. Yes, sir. Yeah, 34-30. This was another hyped up game. We get a kind of good hype and bad hype in this one. There's a couple people on the good side and the bad side. So on the good side, you do get Bo Nix. Bo Nix is trying to highlight for the Denver Broncos. Oh, we did post a video of every Bo Nix pass and throw and run, every little bit that he did. What immediately stands out, like his very first play, you see an almost interception, and followed by a fantastic kind of couple of plays, and then you'll see another almost pick. And a lot of that you got to question. I've got a lot of questions with Bo Nix, right? Like I'm not a real big believer. A lot of people are saying if you give him the ones, it's going to be a big difference for him. And I can see that for a bit, right? Like you give them more quality talent around them, they're going to perform better. There was a couple drop passes that maybe if you do have the A-list squad, maybe you're winning. That could happen. But it's not necessarily. So I think the verdict's still out on Bo Nix, but apparently they're going to bring it back. Some people were just not excited about Anthony Richardson's performance. And all I can really think going into this criticism and this praise is we still need to remember it's preseason, folks. Game one. This is the least amount of time you even having your starters play, or should be. Teams were rolling out those guys like crazy. They wanted to see everybody out on the field. I mean, Bo Nix pretty much played from the first quarter all the way to the end of the game. You got a lot of time. Well, Ryan, you got a very interesting that'd be a little hard to do to have this big of a Chiefs fan up here and down below to be a male to female. Sounds like you're a terrible judge of character. Anywho, yeah, the Broncos versus the Colts. Tay fan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not really interested into what your kinks are. We're here to talk football. Anthony Richardson didn't have the greatest performance, but it is what it is with him. You're going to see him develop more as the season goes along, and not to mention that with what he's going to do with a different playbook. Like you're not even getting a full. You don't want anyone to know what Anthony Richardson's plays you have until the regular season. Like these are all like third grade level, Pop Warner level playbooks. Like you want to pull out, you might even just grab a Madden playbook and be like, "This is what we're gonna run tonight." Like, why not? Like, because you can get away with anything. It's the preseason. You're really not gonna show anything that you want to do. Do I know karate? Not really. I was in the army, so I know a little bit of moves, but I don't do kung fu. Uh, we're from Kansas City. We're not really known as fighters, known for different things. But anywho, the Saints versus the Commanders. Look at the Saints getting a win here, 16-14, in another game that means absolutely nothing. Do I recommend doing kung fu? Yeah, man, go out and be active. Everybody should be active. You should do things. So if you want to do kung fu, hop on it, bro. Like that's not a bad way to exercise, at least. Make sure you got health insurance and whatnot. All right, skipping over the Saints and Commanders because there wasn't much to see in this game. Neither team really developed into very much. The Seahawks and the Chargers was very interesting because we're talking about a 16-3 score. You really kind of expected for just any kind of life in the Chargers locker room and coaching staff after last season. You have Hall Ball as the new hire. He was the highlight, and it was just kind of tough. It's not what you want to see. It's just 3 points. You couldn't even scheme for a third team reps to get on the board. Like, I just don't understand what happened there in that Chargers game. Look, I know you're not, it's none of they don't have a lot of guys. Football fan, huh? Yes, sir. That is the name of the show. We talk all sports on this production. We're not afraid to talk about any topics you guys might have. We're pretty well versed if there's another sport you like. But we do talk a lot about football. We do make football predictions every Wednesday. So we do kind of like to point guys to that. I mean, the amount of like 14-2, you're a music fan? Heck yeah, I can dig it. Yeah, we mess with a little bit of music too. We're working on getting a music production side going. We do most of that on Rumble, actually. Metallica. You can't go wrong with Metallica, right? Like that is pretty classic. That's a great age of rock. I don't mind that, but some of this newer stuff I have trouble with. But I listen to, if it's a good time, I listen to about anything. Except for like house music, I struggle with a little bit. Get a little techno, and I'm not. It's not usually my cup of tea. Another interesting game to kind of stick out in the football realm is the New York Giants played the Detroit Lions. Good 14-3 there. The Super Bowl might be rigged. Look, you're not wrong, right? We can all we need to take a moment to talk about that. Um, Look, it's an entertainment company, which raises a lot of questions, right? We're talking about an entertainment company that used to be a nonprofit, right? They were a nonprofit until like less than a decade ago. I forget when they switched over because they got called out on it and it was kind of an ugly thing. But what I will say is I happen to be a Chiefs fan, right? So if the NFL is rigged and they're rigging it for the Chiefs, like I'm at least not going to complain about it for the next decade, right? I'm going to take because we've sucked for a long time. It's been a rough life, right? Like this is like the first one was beyond reality, and now seeing three like in such a short period of time doesn't even it doesn't even compute. The Chiefs are good. Look, I actually have the Chiefs versus the Lions in the Super Bowl as a prediction. You can check the tapes if you want to on our channel. I have not missed a prediction for the Super Bowl matchup in like 6 years. So I've been on a nice little streak. I've got every little matchup right. I did lose the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I had predicted them to win, but I'd still gotten that matchup up. So I'd still take that win. I'm pretty good at least getting the two teams there. There's a lot of and I hate to say it, the way I come to this prediction, right? So if you want to learn the little how I got there, yeah, the New York Giants are terrible. You don't they're my co-host is really big on the Giants, and I don't really understand it, but I think the Giants are going to be terrible this year. They'll be a top five pick in my opinion. That's why they're actually celebrating this preseason game versus the Detroit Lions because it was a 14-3 game. Get you excited for the season that maybe I can, maybe I can't. Eli Manning was good. Eli Manning was so underrated. Like, like people tend to forget that he got his two rings before his brother Peyton Manning got his two rings, and everyone will point to how Peyton Manning was so much better. And let's be completely honest, if we're talking about a rigged NFL here, to touch back on that for a second, look at Peyton's farewell get a Super Bowl. It was very kind of a hand me a Super Bowl on my farewell tour. He didn't throw a touchdown in that game. He couldn't throw the ball like 15 yards at that point. Matter of fact, when he played Kansas City, it was the start of Kansas City's win streak against the Denver Broncos. Was the last time he played them, and they benched him. They benched Peyton Manning, brought in Osweiler, and let that boy rip for a little bit until the playoffs, and then brought back in Peyton Manning to do his little farewell tour because you know how the story's got to be written, supposedly, maybe, and he gets his Super Bowl and leaves. But Eli Manning already had his two. Yeah, he was. Like people forget that that was a wild card team going into that first Super Bowl. Like it's some you can't a defense. They say defense wins championships, which is a very 2003 saying. 2003 and below, that saying applied greatly. And that's not to say you don't want a good defense, right? But look at Pat Mahomes' first Super Bowl win. That was like a 20th ranked defense. You can be carried by a quarterback. Eli Manning still had to make throws. Everyone talks about that defense, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple throws and a couple catches that we all distinctly remember. And that takes an elite level quarterback to do that, and especially in the biggest moment possible, trying to catch up to your big brother. And he passed him. He passed him. He got his two rings and was able to chill out well before Peyton Manning. And, my co-host has a very famous saying about the New York Giants. He's like, football's better when the Giants are winning. So like it's good. It's a big media market. Nobody's a Jets fan. Like, what are you going to do with the Jets? Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy what they can do. Next on the list, we do have Houston beating Pittsburgh. A lot of people were kind of making fun of Justin Fields in this game. It was kind of sloppy. I'm kind of rooting for Justin Fields. I want him to do better. But let's be honest, this Houston team, A to Z, is absolute monsters. They're a beast. Like you cannot complain about either one of these guys. Like they're pretty legit. Next on the list, we have the Atlanta Falcons losing to the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins, man, Tyreek Hill had a crazy allegation. He's speaking out the side of his mouth at this point. There's an Olympic runner named Noel Lyles. He's a fast man, very fast man. Ran a 9.71 100 meters. Ran a 19.7 200 meters. Crazy fast. Tyreek Hill in high school. This is all we've got is really high school track because that's probably the best representation of him being more like training for track solely instead of just football. Because after high school, he was just doing football. He quit doing track really. And he ran a 10-1 in the 100 meters, which is zero point 0.4 seconds slow. And what would that be? Like a 21.4 or a 20.4, excuse me, 24 in the 40. Well, that's good for you, Game Smuggler. It's 2024. I'll try not to judge. I hope you enjoy your life, and I hope that makes you happy, bro. Like, that's the original meaning of that three-letter word with a G. I don't want to get in trouble for saying it or nothing, but, like, if that's your cup of tea, bro, or ma'am, uh, cool. We're here to talk sports, though. Washington versus the Jets. The Jets pull this off 20-17. It'll be interesting to see what Washington does. The rookie quarterback, new coach. That's probably one of the hardest teams to accurately predict. I hear secret people wait for me that to hear. Do you want to hear? Yeah, we can play the game. Why not? This is a fun sports show. We try to keep it light on our feet. Just don't make it too weird. I can only handle so much weird. It's like a medium level maximum weird for me. What do we have? Washington versus the Jets. Yeah, the Jets won. Philly actually beat Baltimore 16-13. People always sleep on Baltimore. You're Batman, bro. I told you not too weird, man. Like I'm not ready for Batman to be in my stream, bro. Like, but that's cool. Like I'm glad you're saving Gotham. I didn't know Batman was in that community, but it makes sense, especially for people that assume he can beat Spider-Man or Superman. Like it messes me up. Ah, bro, yeah, you can beat Batman. I think technically, what's stopping anyone from being Batman? If you think about it, like if I put on the suit and you go, "Well, I'm Batman," ain't we all Batman, bro? Like I hope you're at least like helping old ladies cross the street, kind of Batman. You know what I mean? Go fight crime type stuff. But I'm glad you're here in between busting up the Joker and whatnot. Next we have what was it? Chicago and Buffalo. I'm pretty sure Chicago won this game. Yeah. Buckle up, folks. 33-6. I do believe Caleb Williams did play a little bit. We're supposed to have a video drop soon of that, so we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. Currently, I'm using Cybertruck. Cybertruck's cool, man. Those are pretty interesting. The range is probably going to suck before long. Like, I've got a golf cart, and I know the batteries don't last forever. But it is cool. It's fun to drive. Oh, you lied to me? Bro, I know you're not going to believe this. I'm not shocked. No, you're not bothering me. You're cool. It's always good to have interaction with the live stream. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to entertain, or at least I am. And you help with that. You're giving me a break in between each team. Superman? No, I don't believe that one though. He wasn't a real dude. Batman was at least possibly real. Like Superman's whole little backstory don't make sense. We skipped right over New England beating the Carolina. So Carolina has like minus 700 odds to make the playoffs, which means in 6 months, you get like a 15% return on your money, guaranteed, because the Panthers absolutely suck. And it's terrible to see like that whole region. Like, it's got to be multiple states that are multiply disappointed in a football team which is the wildest thing to say about the Carolina Panthers. What do you think about the religion and beliefs of God? I believe everybody should believe in everything, or everybody should believe in something, even if it's nothing. We have the Minnesota Vikings 24-23. Hey, Charlie. Shout out, Charlie. Thanks for stopping by. Why do you believe God? I didn't say I did or I didn't. I said you should or you shouldn't. It's up to you. It's everybody's choice, man. All I know in life is weird, man. Like you have weird things happen, good and bad. Sometimes it seems like there's a God, and sometimes it seems like there's not. You can look around at the bad things. Hey, appreciate it, Charlie. Yeah, hey, I'm kind of there already. Not to like toot my own horn. Uh, like this is just a fun hobby. I am a veteran and a business owner, so like this is just for fun. What do I think about this Palestine war? And do you stand with? I don't know who that is, but I'm actually gonna pass on that conversation. We don't talk politics or religion on this show. This is actually a sports show. So what we talk about is like sports related stuff. What I see your name's Gamer Smuggler. Like what you a soccer fan? Like what are we doing? How do you what sport keeps you entertained? Is it football? Because that's what we mostly do. But we do like UFC a bunch, basketball, wrestling, all sorts of stuff. You're a gamer. What's your favorite game? I play a couple little tiddly tats, little video games myself every once in a while. Let me see, what other game did we have? Green Bay Packers beat the Cleveland Browns 23-10. Browns are an underrated team, but a team everybody hates, including myself, and I'm glad they lost. Shout out Green Bay for being a better team. That is my co-host pick to be on the Super Bowl, so I'm excited to see that. Kansas City lost to Jacksonville. Just preseason, folks. Sands, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining. Hey, Kansas City lost yesterday, or Saturday, I should say. It seems like just yesterday. They always last longer than the wins seem to in your heart. You know, sometimes you feel them a little heavier sometimes. But I had a nice fun time with this game, watching the Chiefs really kind of develop and explode. They showed out in the run game with me Still, I forget his first name. I'm just gonna have to work on him, man. It's Camp Darling. All of a sudden, for me, everybody wants to get on the Ross train this year. I'm on the Still bandwagon this year. Sometimes you just see a runner and you just like it. And I like it. Look, he's not afraid to go out there and run into it. He'll let a guy know he's there. I like Punisher backs. We need more of that in the Kansas City roster. But shout out to the Jags for, starting out the season right, getting your hopes up. It's just fun to see. And not the end of the world. Preseason game one. I think Andy Reid usually loses like every preseason game, if that tells you something. So, kind of rough. What game's next? We have the San Francisco 49ers magically losing to the Tennessee Titans. You would think the Water Boys for the 49ers would have been able to beat up the Tennessee Titans. Like, let's be honest. There's actually people starting to get on the Will Levis hype train over this, which blows my mind because we've already seen enough of Will Levis, in my opinion, to get an accurate, true judge. Like we already know what it is. It just is entertainment at this point. It's just to keep you going. And they're saying it might be the truth. That secondary is pretty outstanding. Looks like Bam Margar. Hopefully, pre crack days. Damn, but hey, shit. At least he was famous too. People like to watch his show as well, more than mine, unfortunately. But anyways, let me see. Oh, I think we already talked Seahawks, Chargers. We did do. I think we got all the scores in. It's kind of nice to get subbed. Hey, appreciate it, Keith. We're building. We're on our way. We're grinding every day. Where we're at. Where you might have been the 6,100th person. I don't know what my sub numbers are at this current moment. I know I was getting real close to that 100 mark after 106,000. So appreciate you there. Uh, we take everyone we can get, man. We're desperate out here. It's hard out here for a pimp. These numbers don't come from anywhere. It's a wild fact that we actually found out is 91% of YouTube channels don't have 1,000 subscribers. Rough, rough, hard. Takes a path. You got to keep. You want to do something. You got to keep grinding, man. You just keep doing it. As long as you enjoy doing it, the success will follow. It's always good advice. Not that I've ever really followed all the times in my life, but I try to. You work on it. But we're going to transition into some NFL headlines. See what's happening today in sports. I really like to pay attention to what's going on all around the league. Keeps you on your toes. Keeps you knowing what is actually going to happen, or how to better judge what the next prediction is going to be by following it. So the Jets are dealing with a situation here. All-pro pass rusher Hassan Reddick, who's a monster, by the way. They need to keep this dude, who is holding out, has informed the team he wants a trade. The Jets have already said no, and these fines are going to continue to count. And we're not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I don't blame them. I just truly don't. You pay me, bro. You want me to risk my whole NFL career, whole NFL paycheck when everybody else should be getting paid. But the Eagles don't really have the money. Let's be honest. And the money that they got to pay Jalen Hurts the next couple of years is dramatic. Oh, man, we got to talk about this. This was definitely a point of conversation. My boy Tyreek Hill. He's a great wide receiver, right? He's gone kind of crazy since he's left Kansas City, but I do enjoy the man. I do enjoy his tactics. He's living his life. He's enjoying it. I encourage that. Not how I'd live mine, but you do you, pimpin'. We all wear different shoes, and but he's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. He says he could be professional sprinter, no allows in a race, and I just want to see it. Tyreek, bro, you're fast. Maybe if we're talking like a Z route, like we're running a wide, we need to go 20 yards in a slant. Maybe you win that one. I bet 20 yards, 10 up, and 10 back. He might win that route. If he runs that route that he ran in the Super Bowl, he might be faster at that than Lyles. But if we're talking about any kind of straight line situation for Tyreek Hill, ooh, buddy, I hate to tell you, that ain't it. It ain't it. I promise you it ain't it. It's sad to see, really, but it just ain't it. But you can't blame him for being confident. He's said it to all sorts of dudes. This isn't the first time we've ran into this situation, but it does happen from time to time. All right, then we got here. All right, yep, the Jets still have. They're saying he's got Riddick under contract. They were also told before they traded for him or getting them that contract needed to be addressed. So, like, if you really look at Riddick's side, like, he's told them, if you trade for me, you need to give me a new contract. Like, I'll come play for you. It's not a problem. I'm ready to be that guy. I'm ready to be that guy. I was that guy for the Eagles. I'm ready to be that guy for you, the Jets. But when you trade him for me, you need to work out a new deal. The money's got to be right. I got to be happy. You got to be happy. Thoughts on the Raiders? A quarterback away, man. They are really just a quarterback away. If they really, I was really surprised they did not do some kind of something in the draft this year real early on. I really wanted them to move up, get a guy. The Broncos picked Bo Nix, who's going to blow. He's not going to be good. And they weren't willing to swing. And the Raiders have a solid defense, especially that defensive line. Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest about the defensive line of the Raiders. It's a beast. Crosby alone. If there's one player from the Raiders that I'd put on the Chiefs, Crosby in a heart. It's not even a question. And it's probably like, if it's not him, I don't even let's put the book down. Maybe Adams. I'm going to take Devontae Adams. You got one on defense, you got one on offense. I'd take each one. I think we already did our picks on them this year, I believe. Tough schedule. I'm not a believer in any of this quarterback situation. Like, it's the bottom 5 quarterback room in the NFL, and it's a quarterback-driven league. So at that point, I just kind of expect a little bit better. Just a little bit better. Expect just a little bit better from them. But, they're right in that competitive nature. I like the coach Pierce. He's a feisty guy. The locker room likes him. And that's really what you need out of a coach, especially for the Raiders. But at the end of the day, anytime they suck, I'm a happy man. I've called that a dub. We call that a win. That's as simple as that. So let me see. Next, we are going to scroll down. A lot of Jets news today. Did I end up clicking on the Jets? Jeez Louise. I guess Lions running back Jamar Gibbs left practice today with an injury. Falcons taking Penix definitely hurt Vegas. Hey, I'm so glad that I'm high on Penix. Okay, I think the Falcons situation is great because they've got a veteran and a young guy that let's be honest, Kirk Cousins goes down. Are you disappointed? Are you truly disappointed? I hate to say it, I'm slightly rooting for them benching him. Not injury, of course. But I hope they keep him there, keep him going. Penix was a nice move. I guess they just didn't want to waste a first round pick. And I really feel like at this point, you gotta really throw darts at the board. Are you really gonna Minshew? Is Minshew a Super Bowl quarterback? Let me ask you that. You know what I mean? Do you look at anybody in that quarterback room and says, yeah, that guy's going to take a team to the playoffs? Or is that guy going to get past any of these AFC juggernauts? Even if you look past the Chiefs, get away from my homerism, Like you're still talking about Baltimore Ravens, possibly Cincinnati. You gotta like what the Dolphins are doing. The Jets, let's be honest, if they keep Rodgers healthy, could be a dangerous team. Like it's scary. I know my co-host is super high on the Falcons. I think they could be there. It really depends on what Kirk Cousins looks like. They got a few weapons. I thought that team was a quarterback away last couple of years, so it's nice to see them at least make the attempt at success. Like you really just want to see them do something. Like as an AFC West guy, like I don't like that it's like three easy teams and the Chiefs. Like I'm used to like at least a little bit of rivalry that's legit. And it's like you look at the Broncos and there's nothing to talk about. The Raiders' biggest win in almost a decade, 5 years, we'll call it, is a Christmas regular season win versus the Chiefs. Like, you realize they ran a parade around the Chiefs Stadium for finally beating Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes has never lost to the Raiders at the Raiders' home. That's never happened. Or at least not in Vegas. I might be counting on that move to carry me a little bit, but you never quite know. But shout out to Jamar Gibbs. I'm not sure what this leg injury is, but I'd like to see him be healthy, especially if I'm picking the Lions to make the Super Bowl. Like we need a Foles who can't be getting injured in preseason. Like you gotta wait till at least week 8 or something. We need a little workout yet. Matt LaFleur is quoted as saying, "I want to vomit every time I hear number one receiver. It drives me crazy." That's something you guys talk about. I think we got a lot of them. It's a debatable thing. To me, I like to see 1,000 yards out of a guy to call him a number one. It's just a basic benchmark. I think 15, 20 wide receivers every season generally get 15 or get 1,000 yards. And I think that's a good benchmark. Some teams don't have a legit number one. And that's okay. We've seen Mahomes get away without having a legit number one wide receiver if you don't count Rice, which I'll put an asterisk by because he was just short of 1,000. But any rookie that's gotten at least 550 yards underneath Andy Reid has become successful. Shout out the Raiders, though. It's always their year next year, right? Like it's something to get excited about. Aaron Rodgers says he regrets his comments on the 2021 situation. Well, let me go ahead and bust down this little situation here. We got every Caleb Williams pass and throw, and he's throwing some darts, getting guys open, making them scramble. Might be wrong about Caleb Williams. He does have a couple weapons there with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. That's two wide receivers. DJ Moore is a legit number one, and Keenan Allen has been a number one for a decade. Like, let's be honest, when healthy, put that asterisk. I do got to worry about the older he gets, how healthy he'll be. That's no bum situation either. Let's see what we got next. Multiple teams have been quiet about trading for pass rusher Matthew Judon. But his contract stalemate with the Patriots. That'd be, man, I'll take him. If he's up for grabs, I'll grab him. If he's available, I'll take him. Sheesh. Got to lock him up. Give him some money, man. You got to pay your talent. And if I'm not mistaken, the Patriots do have some cap room. I should be looking it up for you guys, but I'm a little slacker a little bit. So I'm just going to say, in theory, the Patriots have the money to pay this dude and really should. I mean, especially they're real big on the defensive side. And if, I don't know, you got to build a defense somehow. And I guess Jamar Gibbs' injury was a hamstring injury. Just to clarify, I was reading that real quick. The Bills are signing quarterback Ben DiNucci. I'm not familiar with who DiNucci is, but whew, it's not going to be a good year for the Bills. Like, if you're a Bills fan, this is going to be a rough year. I feel like this might expose you in more ways than one. Like, let's be honest. It's not a good situation. This is not where you want it to be. Like, people forget that Josh Allen needed Stephon Diggs. He needed an elite wide receiver to throw to. And really, what has stopped them from like making the Super Bowl is not having two of them for Josh Allen. They've done a lot of like 1 and 3s, like real solid 3s, French 2s, so maybe a good solid number 2s. And Josh Allen really needed more around him. They had that defense in a good enough position to be successful, I believe. But the problem is this coach and quarterback combination has proven not to work for Buffalo. Like, this is a proven, they've already passed the 5-year span that any quarterback and coach has ever needed to win a Super Bowl. Like, the odds have gone down, in my mind, to 0 for that quarterback, Josh Allen, and his coach to win a Super Bowl. Done. Completely gone. Not happening. And the haters will hate, but it's true. Like, show me the success. Like, what's the biggest thing on Josh Allen's resume? Let's be honest here. What's the highlight? He beat Pat Mahomes in the regular season. Is that what we're going to talk about as a highlight for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen? Is that what we're hanging our hats off to? Not the playoffs. Regular season. Not when the games mattered, but we sure did look good week 12. Week 12 a couple times, not every time. Damn, Pat Mahomes, tough guy to beat. It's going to be a rough year for Buffalo fans, and I apologize for them for it. You deserve better. Oh, it looks like the Falcons are hosting Pro Bowl free agent safety Justin Simmons on a visit today and tomorrow. Sources say Atlanta was hit with injuries at the position, and Simmons is a potential answer. Simmons, the top free agent available, also recently visited the rival Saints. Look, if I'm Justin Simmons, this is real simple. I'd much rather go to Atlanta than the Saints. Now, maybe you'd rather go to New Orleans, the city. Well, I'd make an argument for I'd rather visit New Orleans one time than Atlanta again. I've never been to New Orleans, so I can't say. And I have been to Atlanta. Easy pass for me. I'd like to check out the Saints. But just like team-wise, like I might even take slightly less to play for. Even though he's arguing for a premium. He's shooting for the moon. Somebody's going to need a free agent safety. Someone's going to need a safety pop-up. And really, if you really want bum off the street, or do you want a Pro Bowl, a solidified guy in Justin Simmons, who is probably a big loss for the Broncos defense. See what they do there. The Broncos are dumpster fire like every season possible. Don't forget to stay hydrated, folks. Sorry about the water break. Let's keep seeing. The Falcons are hosting Pro Bowl free agent Justin Simmons today and tomorrow. I'd sign him. Oh, the Lions signed Jake Fromm, quarterback Jake Fromm. It's an interesting camp body, probably a practice squad type guy, maybe third string quarterback type deal. You know, you always want to keep a little depth chart. Why not? Bengals right tackle Amarius Mims suffered a strained pectoral per Zach Taylor and will be out for several weeks. When asked if that means Mims will be back for week one, Taylor read the definition of several out of the dictionary. Yeah, I guess they're saying not week one. That's rough. The Bengals always have trouble with their offensive line. And this is really going to be Joe Burrow's downfall. Excuse me. Joe Burrow just cannot get a legitimate offensive line to save his life. You know, they've got Orlando Brown there at left tackle. And it is just, that wasn't the greatest of moves. Not the worst, but, you know, you'll take it at least. And it's just nice to see him doing something, you know. I told myself today we're going to roll with the punches. Stetson Bennett reacts to the 2024 preseason performance versus the Cowboys. I guess he's a little bit more realization about that 4 turnovers than the other guys were. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says linebacker Jalen Phillips is being removed off the physically unable to perform list, also known as the PUP list. Phillips is eligible to return to practice. He's 8.5 months removed from a torn Achilles, has been seen running well during rehab and in recent practices. So it's always nice to see you get your linebacker back. Shout out to Phillips for making that return. 8.5 months on an Achilles. Back in the day, man, that could be a career ender. You might be done. Now these guys pretty much in an off season knocking it out, you know. So shout out Phillips. Welcome back. Nice to see you guys get healthy. 49ers safety Malik Matusaf takes Titans tight end Steven Stolitos along for the ride to send a kick returner, carries Jackson back across the 20-yard line. That was an interesting play. This new kickoff that the NFL has is super funky. It just doesn't – it seems like you can get like a false start unbelievably. That was just like a monster tackle. He blew up. He pushed the blocker into the tackle pretty much. This is the best way to describe what happened in that video. Pretty interesting. I wish I could show it to you guys here. However, YouTube be copyrighting stuff left and right. They don't like it when you share. Even though it's me commentating about it. I think that's supposed to be fair use, but some sports places are better than others. Like the NFL is pretty lenient. The MLB is pretty lenient. The UFC hates you. You might as well have committed murder. And then the WWE is also not a fan. Not a fan of videos. Even though I have got a couple highlight clips in, secretly just tested them and got them through. So maybe it's possible and I just haven't done it quite right. But shout out to all the YouTube creators that magically can and have 10 times the amount of viewers and followers and whatnot because they can share the video, but you know, if I do, no good. One day it'll make sense. We got 24 days left of football, folks. And that was 13 hours ago. I guess that was this morning. Yep, 24. Well, they're marking James Cook from the Buffalo Bills with a 24-yard run. How about that? Me making fun of the Bills. We see a Bills highlight video pop up next. Doesn't that make sense? Oof, ouch. Always in your feels. According to sources, Packers rookie running back Marshawn Lloyd suffered a hamstring injury on Saturday afternoon that is not as viewed as serious. He should be fine for the season. Hamstring injuries can be tricky, so the team will be cautious with him. Basically, you can wrap up preseason for him. Sometimes, like, this is why you don't see starters play long into the preseason, even though I don't think he's the starter. Maybe. I'd have to double check on that. I need to double check on the Packers running backs. But, if you got a guy you like, save him for the season. Like I wouldn't mind if the Chiefs. You don't see guys like Mahomes in the preseason just because it's a way to boycott a wasted, a wasted game for no reason, just to fill some seats and get a little TV money. That's all the preseason is. That's why you get tickets. You want to go to an NFL game for the cheap. The best way is absolutely preseason games. Like I've gotten cheap seats down low. I'm talking corner end zone, lower level. Like it rained, but we had like concrete cover over us, so we weren't getting wet. We were probably 20 rows back, but I think I paid $20 for two tickets and another $20 for a parking pass. Like you can get into an NFL preseason game for real cheap. Now, like a regular season game can get expensive real quick, real quick, especially if you're not a Jackson County resident, or I think Johnson County too. Just, I think it's Jackson County first, and Johnson County gets second, and then it goes open market. Like I know people that have sold seats for $500 for the nosebleed. That's I'll watch it on the 60-inch TV or my 50-inch. They're like, yeah, I go down to a 32 before I go do that. Like, yeah, we keep going. I might dust off the old computer and see what it can do. There's ways around that even. So you ain't gonna stop a good man from watching a good game. I promise you that. So Lamar, what we got here? Sitting on the golden toilet. Right now, goals have been met. Bro, if you're sitting on a golden toilet, it's hard to argue against saying your goals have been met. Look, I know Saddam Hussein had some. Yeah, I'm an army vet, so like we always heard about how like Saddam's palace, all of his little palaces, his kids' palaces, gold toilets everywhere. So if you're sitting on a gold toilet, sir, salute you. Even if it's spray painted. Like it ain't even gotta be real gold or nothing. Still, you've made it in life. Shout out to you. One day, I hope to also poop on a golden toilet, whatever that's supposed to mean. As long as you ain't taking golden showers, we're good. Like Lamar Jackson's first deep ball of practice was to wide open Nelson Aguilar, who dropped it. Jackson ripped his helmet off and tossed it to the ground in frustration. Aguilar dropped a second deep ball later in practice, and Jackson expressed his frustration again. There is not a quarterback in the league that has done more with less than Lamar Jackson. Like everyone wants to talk about how Lamar Jackson's a running back and not a quarterback, and this nonsense. But what blows my mind about the situation, right, is you expect him to throw to people, but look who he's throwing to. Like Nelson Aguilar can't catch a cold on a deep ball, and like we're supposed to be like, oh, that's Lamar Jackson's fault. I'm so glad that Lamar Jackson got Derrick Henry. That combination should be just monsters. Just monsters. We see Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors is day to day with an ankle injury he suffered late in practice on Sunday. Head coach Brian Daboll described Neighbors as sore, but thankfully don't believe there are any fractures. So at least he didn't break ankle, in practice. That is the Giants, though. Like, if you want to talk about the Giants, they're like, oh, we got a half decent guy. Hurt. Everybody wants to hate on Daniel Jones, but like, what wide receiver have they given Daniel Jones? If you ask that question, you know what I mean? Like, geez. Oh, another article about Stetson Bennett. Excuse me. Stetson Bennett throwing 4 picks for the Rams. People were hyping him up. Besides, like, you just take away the 4. You put your blind, get your sunglasses out, folks. Ignore the 4 interceptions. He had a really good game. Really good game. Problem is, you got to take the sunglasses off every once in a while. Not everything is rose colored, just ain't it. Free agent Martavius Bryant is working out with the Commanders Tuesday. This will be a second visit in recent months with Washington. I would like to assume that means you might get a deal done. I like that signing. Martavius Bryant, nice little scrappy. If you got Martavius Bryant as like a third option, you're doing good in life. You got a good, solid team. Pretty sure they might be looking at him for like second or first. Not first, excuse me. Scary Terry McLaren will be the first for the foreseeable future, at least. You know what I mean? The NFL private equity policy talks include fund meetings this week. That should be interesting. What a bunch of dorks that's going to turn into. Thought Bo Nixon's debut was really rough. Jackson McIntyre on Twitter. Trying to think who he is. His name's not ringing a bell off the top of my head. So it could be just a guy like myself on Twitter. That happens. Thought Bo Nix's debut was really rough. Main issue is he showed no pocket awareness and looked like an inexperienced 21-year-old quarterback. This is a threat. Look, I kind of agree with it. We've seen some highlights later in the game. Like if you look at the second half, started looking a little better. Once they started pulling more and more players with let's be honest, pretty good defense, not the world's greatest. I think they play the Packers next week. That'll be a better judge of character, in my opinion, at least. After 2027, I'm going to take a break from football to prepare for the Olympics, says Michael Parsons. Oh, man, I wonder what sport is Michael Parsons trying to play? That's the question. But this is the Bold Sports Show, folks. Let's talk some sports. Let's get some comments rolling. Let's get some interaction. Like we kind of pulled it off. We're getting towards the slide end of the show. Another 10 minutes or so, maybe 5. I do want to know what sport topic is on your mind. Did you watch the Olympics? A baseball fan? You're going to teach me something about soccer? We could go down that road. And if y'all wonder why I keep wiping my face, I am outside in Florida enjoying this nice hot summer day. Even though school is back in session. Pretty wild. These teams had a pretty impressive week 1 preseason. I think the best part is knowing that football is back on TV. Like with all these teams, you're seeing everybody play. That's the biggest part about preseason. It's kind of like, all right, start getting into that Sunday routine. Now I'm going to bust out the Rotel and enjoy some football. That's what it's all about. And this is our first YouTube Shorts live stream. I have no idea how this has turned out or like how many people have clicked. I know we got 7 likes, which is dope. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Like this shit is crazy. Well, this stuff is crazy. Excuse me. Don't want to get in trouble for saying some words. You know what I mean? In 2024, this is kind of slightly sensitive. You know, back in my day, not to be the old man, but you know, in the 90s, we said some things. There were some words. There were some words spoken pretty openly. No one really cared. I guess they did on TV. You couldn't say just anything on TV, so I'll take that back. But what team? I really want to know what your guys' Super Bowl matchups are. Like, who are you picking? Again, earlier in the stream, I did say Chiefs versus Lions. My co-host has the Chiefs versus Packers. Should be a good Super Bowl. Should be entertaining, to say the least. So don't, make sure you drop in your little Super Bowl predictions. Let me know what your hot topics are on this football season. And what storyline has gotten you most excited on this off season? What have you done? I guess that broke. Just chased everybody away. Yeah, that was a crazy drop. Magically all at once. Maybe someone had 5 windows open and would see me 5 different times. That was kind of interesting. But be fun to see this video. Look, this is a YouTube Shorts video. This might end up on Rumble. Might put it over for tomorrow's show. Let it roll. Let the good times roll. If YouTube even lets me download it. To be honest with you, I don't know. Normally we download it, re-upload to Rumble, and let it play. So you can catch these. If you miss something, you can catch it on repeat. That turns into quite a few views. Shout out to them for paying the content creators, because I know I've created a lot of commercials for not a lot of money. You know what I mean? On there, kind of opposite. So make sure you check out us on all of the platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, all the good platforms you can imagine. Pretty accessible anywhere. So shout out to everybody that stopped by. We've had a lot of comments, but not a lot lately. So don't be afraid to drop something before we wrap things up for the night. Like what are your thoughts on the season? Oh, we got a new one. Back man. Hey, what's up, Jacob? It's all good. I'm not sure, Jacob. Did you give me your Super Bowl prediction? I'm not sure if I caught that. I know someone else did, but I'm not sure if it was you or not. It's been a little active chat, which is always kind of nice. We like to see a nice active chat. Keeps us entertained, keeps the talking, keeps the energy up. You know what I mean? Like, makes it so I'm not just talking to us, to a wall type of deal. And as someone that owns a painting company, I do too much of it already. Oh, the New York Giants. That's right. I remember that. And Eli Manning. Shout out to him. The Giants will be tough team. We actually had we do a series called Unhinged Heroes that we film, right? And it's about people's favorite athletes that might have had a little crazy story or two in their life, so to speak. The unhinged part, is there for a reason. And we just did Lawrence Taylor. So you might want to check that out. It was a very interesting conversation just to hear Trevor Lawrence. I will warn you, the audio was a little funky in that video. So that was kind of hopefully a one-time deal on that stream. And I do apologize for that. But that Lawrence Taylor story, absolutely wild. You want to talk about a guy that lived up the 80s. If you know what the 80s disco era meant, with guys and the political and social situation in the United States at the time, if you know that, Trevor Lawrence partaked. He was a snowman, if you will. He liked ski on the old slopes, if you will. So Lawrence Taylor had a pretty interesting guy. The Chiefs or the Ravens. I feel like I've heard that a lot this year. Chiefs or the Ravens. If the Ravens can manage to get past Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, this will be completely legendary for Lamar Jackson's career. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens has got a lot of hate. But again, name a guy that's done more with less. Like, he's carried that Baltimore team to the AFC Championship game last year. And he was undisputed MVP in the NFL. Like, that's there's only a few guys that when they got the MVP, unanimous. Everybody's voting for that guy. Trevor Lawrence is also one of them, by the way. Speaking of him, oh, Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. Man, that's like the biggest disappointment in Patrick Mahomes' resume, personally. When you talk about the GOATs of all time conversation, like when we start talking Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes needs this three-peat on his resume, right? Because he's lost those head-to-head matchups that he really needed. We've seen him lose it in the AFC Championship game in overtime versus Tom Brady with the Patriots. Like, bam, he's done. Lost that one. And then kind of gets his revenge opportunity versus Tampa Bay. Only Super Bowl he's lost is old Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady, not sadly, okay? Not sadly. As I'm so happy to see Tom Brady out of the league. Like, that man is everyone's kryptonite. Like, it's going to be the biggest argument and the biggest hurdle to clear for Patrick Mahomes over that, because he is just, nobody beats Tom Brady. Like, who's not really out here? I mean, it's happened. This quarterback's gotten wins. The Dolphins had terrible teams and would win one every year with a terrible situation. But, man, yeah, I'm glad you agree with that, because, man, and it is kind of sad to see, like, to know that era is completely done. Even though he's kind of hinted that if it was a playoff game, he might come back. Hey, shout out Canada, Ontario. Hey, that's what's up. I bet they speak French too in Ontario too, don't they? So shout out to you for being multilingual, bro. Like, that's hard to do. They're like, I'm still working on my Spanish. Like, that's not where it needs to be. OJ Simpson is someone I really wouldn't count on as a legend like that. Yeah, OJ hasn't made our list. Like, he could though. Like, in theory, like we've had a bunch of people on the list. So the list so far for the unhinged heroes, let me see if I can remember everybody just right. So I know we've had Sean Kemp. He's had a couple little drive-by gun situations, multiple. Let me see. John Daly, the golfer, a legend at losing $50 million in the casino and drinking before every golf match and just absolutely destroying. Being the first golfer to have 300 yards averaged every season. Yeah. Look, and what's crazy about the controversy, right, is, and it's really that unhinged, like, hero aspect of it, is knowing the football career, everything was there, right? We have every bit of it. The resume is perfect. Heisman Trophy winner, just a Hall of Fame running back. Like, let's call it what it is. Movie star. Like, the dude was everywhere and a little too unhinged to be called a hero. Like, for the Unhinged Hero series, even if we don't call them a hero, like, if we don't like the guy, someone has to. But there's certain people that, like, what they did will never make it on our show. Like, one of them we kind of should do is Karl Malone. Like, Karl Malone needs to be canceled. Like, I'm not one to call for cancel culture, but when you have a PDF computer file, you know what I mean? If you put the words together there, he got a 13-year-old pregnant. Like, people celebrate Karl Malone too, and he really should be done. Do you wonder who's going to beat Patrick Mahomes other than Tom? Yeah, that's a good question. We've seen Joe Burrow do it. He beat Patrick Mahomes in an AFC championship game, another overtime game. That's a bad season for Patrick Mahomes. But it's real hard. Another guy that we need to talk about is CJ Stroud with the Texans Houston's. I think he might have it. Like, he could get there, possibly. But yeah, Karl Malone, bad guy. Shouldn't be celebrated. Yeah, like, all this, it's probably, growing up, it's probably the wildest revelation, right? So, as a kid, pre-internet days, it was always like that, to make it in Hollywood, the female actress got to do something. But when we take a step back and we look around society, like, the list is non-stop. Like, are we getting to the point where it's more impressive if you're not on the list? Like you're more shocked to find out some celebrity isn't on that list. Like look at, and it's just everybody, man. It's just everywhere, A to Z. And it's so weird. It's, as a father, it just bothers you. It's crazy to think that, like, that's somebody's something. Like, that's how they have fun. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. It never made sense to me. Like, and just crazy celebrities. Wild stream. But hey, this has been our first live stream on YouTube Shorts. Like, we haven't done it in this format yet. I think this is YouTube Shorts. I'm not 100% positive. Will you let me know if you're watching on Shorts? One day Patrick Mahomes is going to lose, but then come back better. Yeah, look, most quarterbacks, like, he's going to drop off in performance, right? Like, 10 years from now, he's going to throw 5-10 yards less with ease. There's going to be a little less zip on the ball. Can't run, can't mobile as well. And what you're relying on is a quarterback that can use his brains. And that's what Tom Brady really redeveloped in his second half of the career, is the ability to just get the ball out quick and make the play. Yeah, every good player. Yeah, I agree with you there. And look, you can't win them all. Like, I like, if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl this year, I'm not going to be magically down on Pat Mahomes or think the Chiefs magically suck suddenly, because, like, you're not supposed to win it every year. That is not normal. I know Tom Brady has turned it into a normal thing. Like, he's the only guy possible to get into that realm somehow. But, yeah, it's wild to think about that. You can just have a free, 45-year career or whatnot, and win, what is it, 6, 7 Super Bowls, I think it is, like just more than you can even keep track of. Hey, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I need to hop off here too. I got to work early in the morning and whatnot. Thanks for keeping the entertainment, the energy up. You've really brought it, bro. Really appreciate that. Anytime I get people that interact, it just makes the live stream easier. And this is the first one, so we won't forget you. Hey, and we do giveaways, so make sure you pay attention to those. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We will be doing $100 giveaway, probably sometime early on in September, October. Appreciate you. Hey, you enjoy your night. We're gonna call it a good one here, and it was nice for you to stop by.